So now you're a 30-year-old with 5 years in music and you own nothing. That's just backwards. How are you going to invest? How are you going to sustain your family? How am I going to make money off this? Because you could have a song that does 30 million streams and then that's it. And the reason why that happens is because sometimes that song really didn't go crazy because of the artist. It went crazy because of playlists or an algorithm. So they just lucked out. Truth be told, labels lose money on artists all the time. You might as well be throwing it into a fire pit. You might douse the flames. So that's about it. So a radio campaign, a good campaign, 50 to 100K at least. And so if you've made 20 million on a song, you can afford to spend 50 to 100K on a radio song.
Radio space is finite. Like, I just want people to remember that one of the things about radio is people want to have an experience of, that's my song. This is James Rousseau, aka Trig, and let me welcome you to the Corling Solutions Show. All right, y'all, we're back in the house for another episode of The Inside View. I'm Trig from Holy Culture, and I got my brother with me, Doc Watson.
What's up?
From Reflection Music Group. I call him Wheezy, Doc Wheezy. If you don't know either of us, I'm the CEO of Holy Culture. Doc Watson's the CEO or co-CEO.
Yeah,
Co-CEO, Reflection Music Group, which if you're not familiar with Reflection Music Group, artists such as The Derek Minor, Brino, Don Reddy, Marty, D1, Cannon, 350, Tory Deshaun, V Rose, Paris Careers, just to name a few. The easier question really is who is not being supported by RMG, probably.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't plan to go there, but when you really think about that, man, do you ever feel like you've got your hands on too much?
Not now. There was a time where I thought I spread myself a little too thin.
Yeah. What's changed?
Structure, focus, goals, and then just getting to know what kind of artists we work really well with and which ones we don't. And
yeah.
It's not, I think as you get older, you start realizing like it's not about whether we get along or not. It's like does the model fit and is it what you're trying to do? And if you don't really know what you're trying to do, then it's hard for us to really help. So I think,
is that a key criteria, like filtering criteria when you consider people?
I'm looking for people these days that really want to grow something and build something for themselves. I guess the thing to think about as an artist is when you're in a deal and you sign a deal where you get an advance and a budget at a major or indie major or us or whoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say you sign when you're 25 and you're there 5 years.
Yeah.
But to put out 3 full projects, it takes 3 to 5 to, with the label involved with investing, it's going to take about 5 years.
Yeah.
It'll be 30, but let's say you don't own anything, not even publishing in some cases, right?
Right.
So now you're a 30-year-old with 5 years in music and you own nothing. That's just backwards,
right?
To me,
but that happens often.
Too much,
yeah.
It kills careers and momentum because you don't have anything to let people in on investment wise. So when you get out of those deals, when you finally get out, the reality is you don't have the support in any of those areas you had the support before,
right? And
you start to realize what you lost. So you don't have someone fighting for your percentages or what or whatever they are that you have.
Right.
You don't have people fighting for sync. You don't have people pitching records. You don't have editorial support. You kind of just lose all that. You might retain some of it for a little while because of familiarity, but as you get past that and curators change and the game evolves, you start to be kind of pushed out,
Yeah.
And so it's signing deals early is hard because you get a lot of support in the beginning, but you don't really know how it's all happening.
Right.
And then one day you realize, I got like 80 grand against my records.
Right.
I don't own anything. I'm not going to recoup for a long time. I got writers, but it's not really publishing. It is, but it isn't. Right. So yeah, I really want the person when I'm talking to an artist now, the things I like to hear is, man, I'm trying to build this. I'm trying to connect with my fans this way. I'm trying to build out a community over here. And then I know they're thinking ownership in long term.
Right.
And we're better for that situation.
You're looking for, it sounds like musicpreneurs.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking, that's our mindset.
Sure.
We've always been about that. So, and trying to be fair with the artists too. But that's not to knock label systems. They do what they do and they know what they know. But when you own a company, you run all aspects. You see all things.
Right.
For better or worse, right?
Right.
Sometimes for worse, you're not,
Absolutely.
they don't have just that one A&R there. You have maybe a guy that runs the company plus A&Ring or managing. But, in some ways, though, that could be great.
Right.
Because you get to the budget quicker. Less time for approvals.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
We've been there. We've
Yeah.
been there. So okay, so today's topic, man, I wanted to talk about faith and business because I think the intersection is always one of complexity.
Yeah.
Right? We want to simplify it, but there's just complexities involved in movements of faith where you know, not only have faith, not only are a man of God, but a man of faith,
Yeah.
right? On the one side. On the other side, you've got being a man in business, which, you know, plans, goals, projections, execution, postmortems, all those good things, right?
Yeah.
For you, when you're navigating, and the theme I think about is how do you navigate in such a way that you don't compromise your walk, right? And so,
Yeah.
what are the non-negotiables for you? What are some of the things that when you say, man, as we operate RMG and RMG Amplify, these are some things that personally are non-negotiables for me.
Man, it gets me in trouble sometimes, but I really want to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I give too much,
Mm.
and I don't look out for us as much as I look out for the artist.
Mm.
So the non-negotiable for me is taking from somebody if I can't really provide something for them, right? Because that's going to be if an artist feels like, well, I can do these things myself, right, and maybe in that current like time, that's what they can do. Like eventually, if they get busy enough, they can't do all those things by themselves. But if they don't see the value in us helping, then it's already going to be a crash out deal somewhere, right? So it's better if we just don't work, or if we figure out another way. So my non-negotiables are, as far as the business side is reaching too far across the table. I feel like being fair. I gotta be able to live with myself. I just don't. I don't ever want to be on the other side of that story.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard not to ever be, because there's always going to be some people that just feel like they didn't get the best out of you, or they didn't get what they wanted, or it didn't work out for them, or you can't control people and how they feel. But what I can control is how I deal with them, you know?
Right.
As far as like the music side, you know, RMG is not just a Christian rap label. I think people think that because we're at Reach, but when we went there, we weren't just Christian rap.
Right.
And we're still not now. We are definitely involved in Christian rap though.
Right.
But we are a label that does more than that. So, but that means we have other kind of music that comes in that may or may not be really centered around Christianity. And so then it gets into values, right? Like, we're not going to demean women.
Right.
You know, we're not going to kill people in our music. And I'm not dissing anybody or talking down. I'm just saying, for me, I can't.
Hear D1 playing in the background.
Oh, yeah. D1 and I, we line up on a lot of things. Like, we talk about it a lot. But, yeah, I mean, I love what he stands for and what he's about. You know, if you know D1, that's him all day. Like, that's really
all day. It has been for
100%. Yeah, like, way before all that.
This is not new.
Yeah, I know the Sway interview is like a moment that a lot of people know about, but he's been involved in that message way before that. I think the story behind that is he had just heard some music, and one of the artists he was listening to, you know, he felt like, man, like this guy was supposed to be changing and evolving and trying to get away from violence, and they went right back to doing the dope boy music, and it just upset him.
Yeah.
And he had just listened to it, so he was fresh off of that. And so he kind of went in there just a little bit on fire, you know, like it wasn't even a plan, I don't think.
Just,
you know,
just lit it up.
Yeah, he just, you know, he felt like, man, like, you know, and at the end of the day, like it's a polarizing message.
Yeah.
As you know, if you ever talk about hip hop and violence, I mean, it's a part of the culture, kind of dictates the music.
Yeah.
But there's people that feel like, man, and I can't speak from this being involved in it as much as I can from being on the outside looking in, but you know, I guess for a lot of people, they feel like hip hop escalates it or keeps it going, you know, and I guess it's up to you how you see that, right?
But it's like you said, because I mean, part of that's because it's a polarizing message, and when you really think about it, Christian messages in general are often a polarizing message.
Yeah, well, I mean, just our whole
Christ was polarizing. I mean,
very
right. I mean, it's interesting when you say that, because
so much so the story lives on, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And you know, if D1 was sitting in the chair right now, I don't know, I'm close enough to say this with a high level of surety, but my sense is I'm right. Is his non-negotiable would be, I'm not compromising my message to be accepted by a broader population.
That's definitely
it is the message is the message. Like this is the truth. This is what it is.
Nah, he sticks to that.
Yeah.
He's bigger than music.
Yeah.
Like D1 is an influencer. He's a message.
He would say that's a non-negotiable. Okay, cool.
From a business standpoint, you know, it's to be fair.
Right.
And then, you know, from there, it's about, you know, what we stand for as people. So like, we're not limiting ourselves to just Christian rap. We do R&B, we
Right.
do pop, we do a little bit of mainstream hip hop, and then we have a country artist.
Mm-hmm.
So
You have a country artist.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen that.
yeah, he's
Okay.
like way off the grid though. He's
Okay.
like fun.
Okay.
Go to the club, Shabuzi type.
You
stuff.
never send me that stuff. No.
Yeah, I don't think you play. It'd probably get like 5 seconds. You'd be over. You probably listen just to be curious, like what? But nah, like I mean, it's country is changing a lot. Well, then you got your different genres in country too. So I've had to kind of learn and study country a little bit to get it.
Got it.
Because of this artist, and it's interesting, man. Like, it's just there's some people that are just making music for fun, for the bar type thing, But at the end of the day, like, it's a business. I definitely love the Christian hip hop side of what we do, and I feel like it's really important, and I'll always be a part of that.
Yeah.
That's our we have a hard focus on it, obviously.
Yes.
But from a value perspective and just morals, like there's certain types of music that we just won't
do. What about so I heard your compassion for the artist and type of artist. What about on the other side of it in terms of non-negotiables when you're dealing with colleagues, if you will, right? And or, distributors and people who are stakeholders in your business?
Yeah, man, it's tough because I'm learning that the way I think business should go isn't necessarily how it goes. It's very selfish most of the time, which is why everyone I think people overcompensate a lot when they negotiate because of that, right? Like, I'm going to take all I can. And, a good business deal is you're both going to feel it, but you both should win.
Absolutely.
So it should be equal risk, equal reward. And I think people's idea of business when they're coming up, and especially in music, is if I screw you over, I won. And that's artists too. Like, they feel that way too, some of them. So, at the end of the day, like for me, when it comes to the people I deal with, if I feel, I'm not very judgmental when it comes to, I have to see a lot of things happen before I make a hard decision. But if I feel they're just out to benefit themselves all the time, and that's all they are, then I just deal with them accordingly. Like, cool, then I guess we deal with you when you win.
Yeah.
But if it's more about the culture, more about the win, with Christian rap, there's a lot of sacrifice. I think if everyone realizes, man, we all have to sacrifice to grow something, right? Like, so with Christian rap, there's a lot of people here that could be doing a lot better for themselves in other places. That's all of us, right? So, businessmen, women, rappers, entrepreneurs, investors. I mean, there's frustration across the board because we all want to see this message get lifted up.
Right.
But it's like, how do you do business around that message, and how do you, it gets weird. Whereas in like regular music, it's easy. Everyone just wants money or clout or something, but that's what they want. I feel like in Christian, we don't want to admit that that's what people want, but they do.
That they want
money.
They want the
clout.
money.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. Like, so, but it's for different reasons than typically what you would see, in mainstream, right?
I don't know if do you think it's wrong for them to want the money?
I mean, how are you going to live?
Right.
Right. How are you going to invest? How are you going to sustain your family? Like, I don't think it's wrong to think about, man, how am I going to make money off this? I think you should if you're in business.
Right.
But I just think, to what degree?
This is wicked. It's such a wicked balancing factor, man, because you want to produce something that's sustainable.
Right.
So if you want to continue the continuation of the gospel message, it has to be sustainable.
Has to be.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it always gets weird. We talk money in church, and I remember being at a panel one time in Austin during South by years ago. Ahmad used to do like panels at the Civic Center, and one of the questions that came up is it was crazy. The guy was like, "Why are y'all making money off music?" And everyone just kind of started booing the guy, right? And I was like, but he really thinks that way, and because in his mind it's about the message and why do we make money off the message. And so somewhere in there, in his upbringing in our faith,
right,
he was taught something that was a little off. But it's like, you have to be able to sustain yourself, otherwise you put your burdens on other people to be successful, right? So if I can't pay my rent, who's paying it?
Right. And I understand that message too, or his question, because I'd be lying if I didn't say there are times when, look, man, we've been doing this for 20 years. Holy Coach as a nonprofit has never had a cash flow positive year. ever. This may be the first year we break even, right? There's never been enough donations, never been enough revenue. This year, I think we'll do it. During that whole time, though, what's been in my mind is like the Lord gave me a very clear vision of what it needed to be.
Yeah.
And that I could spreadsheet it, but the spreadsheet doesn't always work when it's in the kingdom economy.
Yeah.
And so I do believe there's times where you got to leave room for the but God. But you also have to be able to have the capital to support that.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So it's complex. It's not as simple as
Well, you see it come out in the marketing.
yes.
Right. So when people are marketing, we talk about this all the time. You'll see the hashtag Christian. You thought Christian rap was dead, or you thought Christian rap was this, or you didn't know Christian R&B works. You'll see the artists use those hashtags, build up momentum with that, and then go, how do I break into mainstream? But you just hashtag Christian the whole time, right? So you're in Christian. And so you see like the dilemma that starts to form with, because they want to grow.
Right.
They want to be able to make more, to sustain and do more. And so they're locking in on hashtags to get the popularity and the clicks and all these things.
Right.
But then it's not enough, you know? So like, I feel like, you know, if the goal is how do I sustain, then your business model looks different is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That might confuse some people about what I said, but what I'm saying is the hashtag game is the outcropping of bad planning sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes great planning.
Yeah.
Right. But if your goal is if the overall goal for your like, it'd be like Byron Juwan's an R&B artist for us. He started out Christian rapping. Technically, I don't even think he ever really locked in on it.
Yeah.
Decided, man, I want to do R&B. Then decided, I just want to do like regular R&B, talk about my emotions and just be honest. And, you know, he's going through his growth process. And, you know, if he was to have hashtagged all that stuff in the beginning, which he might have back in that time, because that, you know, right now that's popular, he could never have crossed over.
Gotcha.
Right. So in his mind, he was still trying to figure out who he was, or who he wants to be. I mean,
He wants to be, yeah.
and then making, you know, tougher decisions. So when you come in to doing music, I think what happens is, you know, as a creative, you look around and you just want to be seen and heard. So you look at what everyone else is doing, you go, I'm gonna do that.
Right.
Because the goal is to be seen and heard. But the goal really should be is, you know, how do I grow an impactful culture that I can empower and activate.
Right.
Right. So that's where we're at today in music. So the thing is, if that's your goal, then your focus will be on that. But to do that, you got to have money. You got to be honest. You got. I mean, everyone I talk to, that's the problem. They don't feel like they have enough money. So you got to be able to make money.
so tell me about a time where you had to walk away from what would have been a really good deal, but it was going to clash with your values.
I think that was when I before doing Christian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since you've been in the Christian space, no conflicts of potential deals.
I just haven't put myself in a situation where that was a problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were able to filter it out up front.
Well, I have music experience before Christian music.
Right.
You know, most people don't know that, but I did a lot before this. So like, I kind of knew. I know, like, if you put yourself in a position, you know, that you don't want to be in, eventually you're going to get asked to be a part of it. Like, so, you know, if you're like
but that's what I mean. Hold up. But that's what I mean. Like, let me say it a different way. Not that you had a deal table, but up front, even being offered something where you said, nah, I'm not going to go down that path because I think that's going to clash. Those have happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
But way more in mainstream.
Way more mainstream. Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
But I'll tell you why, though. There's a lot of dope boy money in mainstream music.
Sure.
So, you know, you get around that a lot.
Yeah.
And as you know, that can be very tempting.
But in this space, to the extent that you can share one without incriminating anyone, I would love to hear, man, like what contextualize it. Like what was it that you thought was going to clash with your values in that potential deal?
Let me think which one I can talk about without giving
away too much. Right. You don't have to name names. You can use fictitious names, all that.
Yeah. Let me tell a story before this.
Okay, go ahead.
That's an easier one.
Okay, good.
So, because I've always had these values, like, but as a Christian, they're deeper. You know, like you dive deeper into your value system. I can't really tell too many of those stories because the culture is so small. I feel like you can figure it out.
Yeah, I got you.
But before this, when I used to do events and work in radio and just produce, we did a club event, a big one where I lived at, and it did really well. It was, it was in Clarksville, Tennessee versus Nashville. And that's it. Back in those days, it was very hard to pull Nashville to Clarksville because Clarksville's like an hour up.
Gotcha.
Right. But it's another big area. So it's like a distant suburb. And I remember it did really well. This is just mainstream. I had a mixtape. I was producer mixtapes. It's like during the Lil Wayne mixtape era. And I sold like 1,000 on the street and probably more, but that's all I remember like having to account for. Selling a bunch of beats and all that stuff. So we were starting to build like a lot of momentum. And this bar owner was like, man, you could do venues at our show. I later found out like this dude was selling a bunch of stuff out of there, and he wanted me to keep doing shows there because he was able to kind of like hide that while I was doing this.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that was like one of those times where I was like, nah, man, I'm not doing that.
I got you. Yeah, no, I got you.
And there was a lot of money put in there. I could have made a lot of money doing it, but I think as you make money, what happens is people that just have money come in, they want to invest, get behind you, but they don't always have the right motivations. And those relationships can sometimes tie in negative outcomes. You know what I'm saying? So like, not all money is good money. And you have to. That's when you got to really trust God. It was actually that moment where I looked at what I was doing and I was like, that's not what I really want.
Right.
I really want to do something different. I don't want to be a part of that world. I just love the art. I love hip hop. I love the music. I love producing. And it got me into Christian rap, because of that. I knew Derek around that time, kind of right after that. But by the time I met Derek, I had already committed to doing, Christian rap.
Yeah.
And so then the journey started there. But I wish I could talk about it.
That's okay. That's okay. I figured that may be the case. How do you guys keep yourselves and a team spiritually aligned? Particularly as the business grows, right? It becomes harder. Like, first it was you and Derek. You guys are best friends. You're doing so much together. But then you inevitably, as you're growing, business grows, you got to add more people, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
How do you stay spiritually aligned this side of RMG?
Man, it's funny you ask because we really just started restructuring how we do things. And I think accountability is everything. Like, so, as a business, you're not going to always hire Christians. There's just some people that are just going to come in and work. And, and so it makes it more difficult, because the conversations are a little different when you have people that don't believe in what we believe in. So we keep it very, business formal as far as that's concerned and consider everyone else. But as far as Derek and I, we meet every Monday. We have our work meetings on Mondays. We go through what we're doing. We talk through different scenarios. We've had some things come up that we could have done, and we were trying to figure out, does that make sense for us? And it really falls back on, our spirituality. We look out for each other a lot, when it comes to the different aspects of our faith. Like, if there's times where Derek needs to check out because social media is kind of wild, he'll just tap out and someone else steps in. Cannon's the same way. The team, we talk on Tuesdays. We have a lot of conversations internally about different things. But I think ultimately, man, we build off of a model that, we just try to keep a high morale situation and a high value situation. There's certain rules we have internally. We don't talk about each other. We don't, if there's an issue to be taken care of, we address it right away. We have confrontational conversations sometimes, like I think we're just honest with each other. Yeah. So it's just a natural environment that's how we work.
And you're highly virtual, right? You guys.
Yeah. We're trying not to be in the next year or two, but
What do you find yourself what do you find yourself praying for as you approach big deals, man? As you sign a new artist, as you do something big with said distributor, fill in the blank.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Does it make sense? My natural instinct is to try to make people happy. So what I'll do, is I'll start looking at it like, will they be happy in this deal? Will this still benefit them long term? Will they, what would make them not happy in this deal? I just don't want to be the guy that the artist hates being around and down the road they regret it,
Right.
So I always worry about that. It's just something I think about a lot. But but I think for us, man, we just pray for peace. Like, does it make sense? We passed on money before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some pretty dope situations come through, and we just didn't do it.
Didn't feel right.
Yeah, it just because when you build with a team, man, like we're really doing a lot now with Vidya. We have a couple records left with Empire, but Vidya, we've been there for almost 5 years. We've been building with them very seriously for 3 years, and I just feel really good about that team. The people, they've taken the time to build with us. Come down and see us, spend time with us. Frank Polonia Cheats, they call him, is one of the board members there. Like international marketing, just a great guy, and I spent a lot of time with him. Like just anytime we're out at conferences, I'm always around him. Right. Like we always hang out. And then our, you got Mike Christina, who's like our project manager, really great guy. Empire, we have Desiree Zapata, who's amazing. Nima, of course, and guys, those guys. So like, I got to feel like they care.
Right.
And then, the thing about deals that I think as you get down the road in deals, the money doesn't excite you anymore.
Right.
Right. I mean, you've done massive deals, so you know what I'm talking about. Like, just in the beginning when you first start doing that stuff, it's like, oh my God, we're gonna make a lot of money, and now it's more like, is this sustainable? Are we gonna be happy? Are we gonna have peace? Can we get through does this fit our model where we can consistently build and we're not gonna be stressed out for the next 5 years? And I think in the past the deals we signed had us stressed out.
I'm with you 200%. When you do deals and it feels like you're treadmilling deals in terms of you're not sure they're going to stay around long enough, you have to replace them.
Yeah.
Right. That's a treadmill, man. And it's and when I was younger in my career, I didn't appreciate that. We were working on deals, and you sign a $5 million deal or something. Like when I was in credit card business, it was like, oh my God, it's awesome. We just run.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, oh, but that $5 million annual goes away in year 3 unless I replace it or I'm able to get them to re-sign, right? And then you're looking at the strength of the relationship and what we're building together. And is it something where we feel like it's so integrated and has so much value on both sides, neither one of us would even question it. Like it's a re-sign automatically, right? And so when you don't know that initially, you're looking at just getting the deal done. When you do appreciate it, you look at it from the start of, am I building an integrated value system?
Right? And I think, man, just there's such a lack of experience in the Christian hip hop side of the world,
right?
That when you sign these deals, I think a lot of people when they sign, how can I say this, not sound like a jerk? So let me back up. There's a lot of new money here.
Let's get some air horn, jerk air horn.
Yeah. Now so let me back up before I say anything else. Like, there's a lot of new money coming into Christian hip hop. That's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a good, in my opinion. The good thing is new money. Which means we can grow, which means we have people interested. Probably the highest interest now more than ever, right? We have a lot of good things going for us in the culture. You got the viral stuff happening, artists coming in that way.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you look at Don Reddy, Brendo, Young Chris, Caleb Gordon, Alano, and all these guys, they came up just doing TikTok and really just blowing themselves up that way. Right. That's a whole nother way. That's never happened for us, right? There's others besides that. I'm just naming the ones that kind of were, the Nick D. There's more. If I let you out, not on purpose, there's just so many. But all you guys did a great job. So that's new. That's new. And then you have the new labels coming in, getting involved, and you have more competition, which is great. Like I love that. I don't get mad when there's more competition. I love it because it makes me work harder. Right. And then on top of that, it gives us more options to work together. Right. I think in Christian rap, the problem is the original look for Christian rap was cross movement to reach to us, collision on down, right? Lamp Mode, God of the Money, and many others, and it's always felt like a one versus all versus how do we tour together, right? How do we do a conference together, right? It's always been one and done, like everyone's separated. So when it comes to the new money coming in, what I'm hoping is that instead of us trying to find a way to keep look, there's going to be competition. That happens. That's always going to happen. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that we can't help each other and further the culture in the areas that matter most. Yep. There's the outside framework that labels deal with, and there's the inner framework that the artists deal with. Yep. The competition really happens in here. That's right. Out here is typically supposed to be kind of the net that holds it together. Right. Right. So like, if 3 labels fail, then they're gone.
Right.
And that means you have less options. So you don't want there to be a thing where we're all fighting each other, because then it's going to be like, the best way I can explain it is hungry, hungry hippos. You're just like, trying to get all the marbles.
Right.
I tell people that all the time. That's what it looks like. So the good thing is more money. The bad thing is not a lot of experience with the money. So when people get money, what happens first? When you've never had money or a lot of money,
you get all the things you think you've been wanting to get.
Yeah,
I mean, you
it's
spend
like,
it.
Finally, I get to go to the store, buy this, buy that, get the new living room, get the car, get the house, get this. And that's natural for all of us. But then when you spend all that and you start to realize that 20, 40K can be gone like this, you're broke again.
Especially when you think it's going to keep coming, which is such a bad assumption.
It doesn't.
It's such a bad assumption that you think it's going to keep coming. It is such a bad assumption.
Especially when you have tours canceling, when you have labels dying. What was it, 3-4 years ago, everyone thought Christian rap was dead.
Right. I mean, you really don't have the money till you have the money. Right. And so when you are spending, assuming stuff's coming, you're mortgaging your future in a different way.
Yeah. And when you sign a deal, right, like with anybody, it's going to be recouped on your split, most likely. So if you're doing a 70-30 your way and you're like, oh my God. Right. Or if you're an artist that signed to All In, you're doing a 30-70. Right. Right. It's coming off of your money. It's not coming off of their money, because I know it sounds wrong, but think about it like this. They're coming in, they're saying, hey, we're going to invest in you. We're going to give you accounting, administration, marketing, editorials, whatever, right? Right. We're going to try to help get you on touring. We're going to do all these things, and they're going to get paid for that. And the money they want to make is up front. They're going to invest in you. They're going to advance your revenue ahead of time. So you've already got paid for maybe a year's worth of work already, or 2 years of work before you even got started. They're going to collect back on your percentage while they make money off the percent they're supposed to make. Right. That's not wrong.
It's not.
So I know it sounds wrong when you're the artist, but think about it. If you give somebody money and you're investing in a situation, you're going to want your money back.
Well, in our reality, right? If when they put that money out, there's no guarantee they're going to get it back.
No,
there's no guarantee at all.
You could literally stop doing music and we're left holding the bag.
There's no guarantee.
And guess what? That has happened to us. Yeah. There's artists you don't even know about that we signed, that we lost the bag on, right?
There should be like a record label insurance policy you could sign or something.
They do it if you die. They do. It's
I gotta look into this now.
If you die,
never talking about this. I'm
life
thinking,
insurance clause.
There should be a policy on this. Yeah, it used to be insurance. Let me close with this question, man. How do you balance like discernment and wisdom on one side, because you've got a lot of experience, you've got a high degree of discernment, but then also like balance that with risk and ambition? Yeah. How do you balance those?
It's hard, because that is really how you sign an artist, right? You look at him and you go, I see a way with this artist. I see a way, and I love this artist. And then you really have to. I think we've made more decisions based off ambition in the past than we did on risk. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Every artist is a risk, period, right? Because you could have a song that does 30 million streams, and then that's it. That was it. And the reason why that happens is because sometimes that song really didn't go crazy because of the artist. It went crazy because of playlists or an algorithm. So they just lucked out. Right. Like, it's literally the lottery. It's the jackpot. It's walking into the casino. That's why there's only a few of them. We can name them because there's only so many of them. Right. There's thousands of artists. Right. And maybe, 10% have over 1 million streams on a song, right? Like, maybe, I don't know, just throwing numbers out there, but saying, like, if we're being honest about the situation, how many artists do you know that you hang out with every day that are doing more than that, right? And so sometimes I get excited about the potential for an artist. I see it. Right. I see what they could do. I believe them. I see their ambition too. Right. But they don't have production. They haven't been A&R. They don't take criticism well. If it comes to their music, they don't want to budge on certain things. They don't want to tour. Or they don't want to do merch, or they don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, so then what you end up doing is signing a liability. So you sign enough of those, and you don't ever want to do it again.
Right. Bro, I remember back in the day being down at, I don't know what made me think about this. I used to go down to, what's it called, 3rd Street Studios downtown, where Joey Nicolo the Butcher used to be. Yeah. So Joey would record for Cypress Hill, they would come in, right, go down.
That's wild.
You had DMX before he became the Def Jam DMX, like when his records weren't hitting. And in that same building, you had Joey the Butcher and his thing, and you had Rough House Records. And I remember being in there one
Rough
day,
House.
right? And they had the kids that did Jump, Crisscross,
yeah.
and whatnot. And my boy Taj worked there. I used to work for Taj at the studio back in the day. That's really big shout out to my boy Taj.
They made the original Crisscross album.
Yeah. And I remember sitting out in the lobby one day, and the guy was in there yelling at Taj. Now, I had known Taj as a dude who hired me, strong Jamaican, real estate investor. Like, he was a boss to me. I heard the label head yelling at him, and he walked out with his head down. I was like, I've never seen Taj like that. What's going on? He was yelling at him because he missed a curse word or something in a remix, right? And then he went on this whole tirade about how much money they were losing and was going down the list of the names on the roster that were duds, right? It was like, DMX is losing us money. Chiba, you remember Chiba back in the day?
Yes.
Chiba is losing us money. The Cypress deal isn't working.
Dang, Chiba, bro. That's
right. I mean, Larry Lair. You remember Larry Lair?
Yeah.
Like and I used to be in there with all of them, right? Got to know Larry
I
Lair.
feel like every name you mention, my gray hairs get grayer.
I know, man. That's what I'm saying. It's so wild because I'd be in there, hanging out with them, and to me, they were all notable.
Yeah.
To the label, they were losing tons of money. And I remember that aha moment of, oh, shoot. It was like, to me today, it almost reminds me of like a venture capital company where in venture capital or private equity, if you get
high risk lending.
Yeah, if you get one hit out of 6 or 7 deals, that's a great week or great month.
Yeah.
Right?
Man, truth be told, bro, like labels lose money on artists all the time.
Yeah.
So, basically like, with us, we have to be a lot more careful because we have less to invest. We're a smaller unit.
Oh, you well banked. You got, you got those big distribution deals. What you talking about? No, I'm just
but like we don't have millions, right? Like these guys, if you sign a Sabrina Carpenter,
right,
and she's making a bunch of money for, the year before it was Ariana Grande, right?
Right.
You're making all this money, then you got like play money, right? Hey, we got $3 million. Let's go sign 20 artists for $30K a piece and see what we could do with them. Whoever does the best will keep them going.
Right.
That's how they think. Or they'll sign an artist and bench them or kind of just throttle them because they got somebody else.
Something else priority.
Yeah, and they still do that. They used to do it a lot back in the day, but now with streaming, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But what they're really doing is they're re-signing and regurgitating a sound everyone likes to get more of it, right? So a different version of a brand. So when you go buy Coke, you can buy Coke, Pepsi, RC Cola, down the line, right?
Right.
And you might, and they're just different takes on soda.
Right.
But whatever, you might like, Coke and Pepsi are the biggest, right? So,
right.
But, wait, I like that one. I'm going to try Fanta or whatever.
Right.
And so that's what music is. What they've done is they've repackaged the same thing over and over again in different versions of it, different homes. And Cali has, not Cali, but hip-hop has something special about it because hip-hop is about neighborhoods still. About where you're from and the interest of, oh, you're from New Orleans, oh, you're from Dallas. And there's always a new city appearing that no one's really tried yet. Like, wait, Dayton's got a rapper, like so they're just repackaging a different look of it,
right? And
so I think a lot of times it's kind of more of that, and so they might lose a little money there, but they're controlling the market share.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that to that point too, I think in some of that, and artists are going to hate what I say next, but I do believe it's true. Again, if you work in private equity and you walk the hallways and talk to those executives, and I only know because I was a executive in a company owned by a private equity company. The first time I went to the private equity office, I used to always think we were special to them.
Wow.
And then I get to the office, and I'm like, oh, they own Sbarro too. Oh, wait a minute, they own Totes umbrellas. Oh, wait a minute, they own. Oh, that's right. We're a portfolio company.
Right. Now walk in when the bigger portfolio's in there.
Right. And so, and at the time, bro, we're throwing off $500 million. I'm like, okay, but Totes is doing okay.
Right.
Right. Sbarro has gone down since, but at the time they were doing okay. And I remember going.
Yeah, they were doing really good.
Sbarro at one time was doing really good, right? But then they closed down. They were at every rest stop. They were every big mall. And then it clicked for me in terms of speaking to one of the executives about how they think about portfolio management. And I liken labels to that a lot, man. It's managing portfolio. And sometimes the purchases are even defensive. Sometimes they don't even know what they're going to do with the company, but because they want to be the leader in that market, will buy the company and kind of hold on to it, right? And put it in that defensive quadrant. This is our growth quadrant with these companies. These are our cash cows who they're mature. We don't expect any transformative stuff to happen, but they throw off a lot of cash, which funds the growth companies. And then these other ones here, we'll hold them there because we don't want them in the market.
And see, like in music, that's where the problem is. Because you have people doing business. And then you have creatives. Now, in the food industry, that's not really they have marketing, but it's really a business from the beginning. So you have to think like a business, because to make this burger, it's going to cost me $1. I got to make $5 because I got to pay these people. But in music, it's not that way, right? In music, it's all motion driven.
It can't be.
But it is.
But it can't be. It can't survive that way.
No, but if you think about it, who runs it? Right. Sony. Right. Sony's got tons of stuff. Sure. So the music now becomes part of the story, but not the main story. Right. So now you got all these different aspects. So you just got to be green. You can lose money on 50 of them, make money on 5 of them, and those 5 are so big that you're out of here.
Absolutely.
Have you seen Kendrick Lamar's streams?
Right. Oh my God.
100 million streams. I mean,
absolutely.
Do the math.
The other day I went and looked at
per song or 300-400 million billions.
Such a nerd.
Drake.
The other day I had nothing to do on the weekend. It's a shame now. It's making me think about my life a little bit. But I had nothing to do that weekend, and so I'm looking at Warner's 2024 annual report and just peeling through their P&L. Right, the number of artists that made the money relative to the number of losers, bro, like is so stark. But those winners won so big. And then when you look at Warner's books, the part between, and this is what really smart on their side, they have the streaming part. They've got, of course, Warner Chappell Publishing, but then they've got their own stuff that they're doing through their apps and whatnot, right? Slowly moving things into higher yield stuff, right?
Man, they're even like selling merch. Like,
absolutely,
the merch game's changed. I mean, Derek and I talk about this all the time. That's why it's good to have a partner, because I'm focusing over here, and I might miss something over here. And I was still on don't email a lot. And he was like, you have to, because you won't be at the top of their email box. That's the new thing. Like, it used to be, don't use that e-blast because, people, now it's like, no, e-blast.
He's killing it with the vigilantes.
He's just getting started. We have a whole thing planned around that. And but we've been building, we've spent literally a year and about 4 months rebuilding it internally. With the last 4 months being the most robust part of it.
That's good.
But to make it better for the artists when we release music. So the whole idea is you turn the record in, we're streamlining the whole process, to where you at least get this type of support. And then based on what we're doing, we can level it up. But in music, the way you should be doing it, though, if we're getting into how to make money on it, like, my take is we tried to throw money at the problem. Right? It doesn't work. It's just, you might as well be throwing it into a fire pit. You might douse the flames. And that's about it. Like, you only put money behind the motion. If this song is going, your fans are telling you they like this song. They're already listening to it. They're already rocking with it. Now you shoot more content for that. Now you put more money behind that. It's funny because Nima and Empire and I were talking about radio about 3 years ago. And I was like, maybe we need radio. Maybe that would be a thing that would take some of our records to the next level. And we do get like Christian radio. A lot more now than ever. It's way more built out. Right. So that does help. And, he told me straight up. He said, bro, don't. He said, radio is vanity. It's a vanity look. He said, if you've got a song that's out of here, like the Shabuzi song, that was Empire's song, right? Or they were the ones behind that record with Shabuzi. So, like, that song was out for a while before it started hitting radio, commercial. I live in Nashville, so I heard the song. You know what I mean? And it went viral first, right? And then it started getting picked up on more streaming platforms as they went viral. One of those came first. I'm not sure which one. It's kind of the chicken and the egg situation, which came first, And then after that, they went to radio. So a radio campaign, a good campaign, I mean, 50 to 100K at least, right? And so if you've made, 20 million on a song, you can afford to spend 50 to 100K on a radio song, just to top it off, right? Like now you're just mashing them in the face at this point. Then it gets into the syncs because it's so big now that everyone that's music producing has heard this song, and so now they're wanting to sync it. That's how it works. But so what we always try to do here is go, money, 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 money. And your fans aren't listening to it.
They're not buying it.
Yeah. So
like one day we should just do a whole like radio discussion because I just think that
Well, let's talk about your experience. Like,
I mean, what you're saying is largely right. I mean, it happens. So here's what I see happen. So the one is just like you said, a song was released, is getting momentum, people are streaming it. You see people TikToking it, right? And when that happens too, that's a whole nother thing, right?
Yeah.
And then when you bring it to radio, it's easily understood. Like, yeah, we should support that. You know what I mean? And now the one thing I'll just say is we don't. A lot of stations, and this is not a shot. I mean, I'm just talking about how things operate. A lot of stations will only take it if it's coming from a promoter, right? We're not one of those stations. We take it from everybody, which means we do a lot more listening, right? So you have the one category. I always say there's categories. And by the way, guys, please don't take this as like this is a rule-based thing I'm telling you, right? It's art and science. But the one is when you send the song in, we're going to listen to the song and see if it makes sense. But we're also going to look and see if it has any momentum. Yeah. We're going to look at chart metrics. We're going to see what's happening. Is it being Shazammed? Is it being streamed? Is it moving up in rank? How long has it been out? I mean, if it's been out more than 6 months and nothing's happened, it probably doesn't make sense. Then sometimes it's almost like back in the day when you would walk in Blockbuster and you'd have the walls of the new releases and known, but then you would have staff picks. Right. So then we make some staff picks. We're like, you know what? Nothing's happening with this song yet, but it feels right. There's only so many of those we could do. Radio space is finite. Like, I just want people to remember that one of the things about radio is people want to have an experience of, that's my song. And they want to have that experience often. That's my joint. When it comes on, that's my song. Do they want to hear new stuff introduced? Sure. The caveat I would say, though, is a lot of times they want to hear new stuff introduced by the artist they are in deep with.
Yeah, radio is emotional.
Right? Oh, it's a new song from Miles Minnick. Oh, it's a new song from Dealey. Oh, it's a new song from Derek. Do they want to hear an artist they don't know, a song they're not vibing with? Yes. I would say that's a smaller percentage, right? Yeah. And we take a bet on those every now and then.
You have to look like what the culture's looking for.
Absolutely.
If you go against the grain, and I'll be honest with you, that's a problem Christian rap's had a lot, where you have people, I love that you're that way. Like, you got, one thing about you guys is you're fair, right? So if look, you'll be honest, hey, I don't know, Doc, might give it a couple spins, see how it does, right? If it's an artist that's just getting started, right? Not a lot of marketing behind it, but it's a good song. You guys are willing to give it a shot sometimes.
And I want to, can I just say one thing? Of course. And when I give it a shot, that also means a lot of the other show hosts and DJs may give it a shot. Yeah. Because once we launch it in the system, we've got 18 shows. Yeah. So Wado may say, oh, great example. Wado and I were just talking about this 2 years ago. K.O. Bracey had that song, Everybody Sliding. Loaded it. We were like, yo, nothing's really happening out there yet, but this one's got a vibe.
Yeah, it's got a feel.
It's got a feel. So Wado, next thing I know, Wado's got it. I think he put it in his top 10 countdown. A couple other people started playing it. We moved it up from light rotation to regular rotation, and it kind of took off. Next thing I know, I could see the Shazam streams taking off. And that's a sign for me, right? When a record wasn't happening, we start playing it more. You've got a large audience. They Shazam it and lock it into their playlist. It's like, okay, good. We're a part of something. We feel good about it. So
yeah, and if you Shazam, much to Sirius's chagrin, it probably goes to Apple. So when they go, because Apple bought it, so when people Shazam music, Apple's the benefactor.
I forgot about that.
That's where you'll see your streams, though.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you'll see it there. For now. I'm sure that Sirius is gonna work it out, but yeah, you'll see it go there. So people are like, what people will do is they'll get radio play and be like, yeah, I'm not even seeing it. Yeah, and it's like, well, it takes a lot of radio, but it's not always going to hit Spotify as much as it's going to hit, because if you Shazam something, you'll see where it pops up first. But it's crazy because we do see the result. Like, if you get Shazams, you're getting radio.
That's right.
Or you're going viral. One of those
or you're going viral. One of those two things. Yeah, absolutely.
It's only that, like, it potentially syncs on TV, but the TV syncs are less because people have to be like right now thinking about it. Right. Your song gets played like maybe for 15 seconds throughout the commercial, and probably not going to get enough time to do it. But yeah, radio is a sure sign of Shazamming. Once you see that, and I've seen artists that we've worked with you guys. If you guys lean on the artist really heavy, technically I'll see Boost like jump in. I know you guys kind of go back.
We're on a hot chart. We report on the hot chart too, and that helps. And that's the thing. I mean, the thing you said is really the thing I want people to focus on first. That radio is really a form of amplification of something that has momentum. Yeah. Can it happen in the inverse? Yeah, but it's more rare. It's more limited, right?
And so,
yeah, right. There you go.
That's why we call it that. It's like it's working.
And so remember that it's amplification of something that's working. Will we take some staff picks? Absolutely, right. But there's going to be far fewer of them.
Man, we are so fortunate to have this because, you know, there was times where we didn't have radio,
Right.
right? And shouts out to all the people, including Chris Chicago, who really pioneered some of
Yes,
that.
man. Yes.
But you guys have always been involved in radio one way or the other. Y'all were doing podcasts.
Yeah,
when podcasts first started.
When they first started. Before they were like called podcasts. I forget what, I guess they were always called podcasts, but it wasn't a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing.
It wasn't a thing.
It wasn't like now.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, it was ahead of its time, but it was relevant.
Right.
You know?
Well, we had several shows. DJ Delight, Wado. I mean,
it was,
bro.
But I got in later. Like it was the coolest thing I ever seen because I found it because you guys were playing our music.
Yeah.
And how did I find out? I was just talking to Wade about this the other day. I always tell the story because I just feel like him and Delight are really the ones that that really broke us in to the culture. Like, because I didn't know much about Christian rap.
Right.
And Derek Kingston and I made a record. Derek recorded, mixed, and he was on it. Tony Tillman, his brother Tone, was on it. And I'll never forget, it was our first album, and it was when iTunes was new. You couldn't get on iTunes still.
Yeah.
Remember? Like, you had to be. Yeah, so they remember they opened it up to independents.
It was like a black box. Like, how do you get on there?
Yeah, so it was like CD Baby finally got in.
Mm-hmm.
They were one of the first ones to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So one day I just saw a check for like $800. I'm like, how? It freaked me out. And this is like 2007,
right?
8. So, you know, $700 felt a little different in 2008.
Big time.
It felt like $2,000.
$700 for music? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I just remember calling Kingston like, bro, I don't know what happened. So the next day at work, you know, I was a contractor in the government. And usually in the mornings I was done in the first 3 hours. So
I remember that.
Yeah, I would be
I remember that.
I got some time. So I started like Googling and I found like the Holy Culture. I was like, what is this? And then I looked up Kingston. I found that DJ Wado was playing him at the time, but Wado credits Delight for playing it first. And then I saw there was like 8 podcasts.
Right.
And it was all Christian rap shows. And it looked so dope, right? Like, I just couldn't believe how cool it looked. And I was like, I've never seen something like this for just what we do, like in regular hip hop. So I like dove in. I remember hitting you guys like, man, like, how do I send more music? And I met Vic. That's when Vic was still running it.
Yep.
And he kind of had the box in the office where he put all the music.
Yep.
And the filter was really heavy.
Yeah.
You know,
it was really heavy.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of music getting through back then.
Yeah, it was really heavy.
This era would not recognize that era at all.
That was that's a whole nother conversation we're going to go to, bro. We got to talk about some of these eras.
Wow, that was a crazy era, bro.
That was a crazy
Nobody worked
era.
together.
Yes. That was different.
Yeah, it was like different. If you got a feature, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was different.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We're going to wrap up this episode, if you will, of the Inside View. Man, if you got questions for Doc Watson, and I'll tell you what, hit me up on trig@holyculture.net. We will work it into the show. Until next time, y'all, hit that like button, hit subscribe, of course, share it with somebody. Blessings, y'all.